Hello, my name is Carl Forkel. I am the owner and maker behind CFF Jeans, the jeans that define you. I'm excited to join host Jennifer Kite Powell on her podcast, Tiny Little Victories, where we'll talk about how I got started making jeans in America, the importance of vintage sewing machines, and my journey from Dresden to Dallas, Texas.
Hey friends, welcome back to Tiny Little Victories. This is episode 25 of season 2. It is the final episode in season 2. And today we are going to talk about blue jeans. Yes, blue jeans. My guest today, Carl Forkel, has a new blue jeans label called CFF. And we're going to talk about how and why he decided to create a new blue jean label and how he got to that point. Carl is based in Dallas, but he is from Dresden, Germany, and he tells us a little bit about his story. He didn't set out to be a jeans designer, nor did he set out to do what he's actually doing today. He sort of took a circuitous route to get there, and it started when he was sent away to school in New Mexico when he was 15. So he's going to talk about that story a little bit, but before we get into that, I want to talk about the first pair of Levi's jeans, which were designed by a tailor by the name of Jacob Davis in the late 1800s. And he worked he actually was a fabric customer of Levi Strauss, and he had a lot of complaints from his customers that their pants were ripping apart. So Davis decided to create pants that were stronger pants with those iconic metal rivets at sort of the points of strain on jeans. So if anybody's ever had a pair of Levi Strauss jeans, you know that they have those little metal rivets on them. And so in 1873, Davis took that design to Strauss and then received a patent for the rivets on men's pants. And that is the first pair of denim jeans that were designed. And they were initially worn by miners and cowboys. Nobody else would wear jeans. They were workers' pants. And then they just evolved into casual clothing for everybody. And in 1890, the company created its first pair of Levi's 501 original fit jeans. And everybody knows that line of jeans has been around for a long time. So over 100 years, that jean design has been here. Carl is going to talk to us about the importance of stitching and how he works on vintage machines, which is a fascinating story because I didn't even know there were vintage machines that just do one kind of stitch and another machine that does another kind of stitch. So he's going to talk to us about that. So stay tuned to hear this story of blue jeans. Welcome to the last episode of season 2 on Tiny Little Victories. I'm your host, Jennifer Kite Powell, and today, for the last episode of season 2, we have Carl Forkel right here with me in Dallas, Texas. Hello, Carl.
Hello there.
Don't you love that voice, you guys? So Carl has hesitantly and then generously agreed to come into this podcast.
You're exposing me like that?
I'm exposing Carl. And I want to tell everybody that Carl is a denim designer, a very bespoke denim designer, and from Dresden, Germany, but you live here in Dallas now. And yes. I feel like I need to say something like, a German, there was an old book called The Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. It was written like way back before I was even born. Mm-hmm. And I kept wanting to say like, a German denim designer in the Lone Star State. I kept wanting to make this comparison.
It sounds very good. Like as with many, marketing things that we already talked about before, every single time we talk, there's new things that I pick up.
I know.
So it's amazing.
I love that. So I want to tell everybody that Carl and I met by chance at my birthday party last November. He crashed my birthday party.
Basically.
And it turns out that his birthday was literally the day after my birthday. Yeah. And so it was just supposed to be a cocktail party. And here comes Carl. And just so you guys know, he's close to 6'5". So, I mean, you can't sneak in anywhere. There's no sneaking in, Carl, right?
Well, yeah.
But people can't see you, so we're trying to paint a picture.
Of course.
Yeah. So you're very tall, so there was no sneaking in. You came with two very short people.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, no, but it was a great birthday party. I mean, they invited me. Actually, I wanted to, I asked them. I was like, hey, it's my birthday the next day, or don't we want to do something?
Yeah.
And then they invited me to your birthday party, and and it was awesome.
It was great. It was so nice to meet you, and we were so I've lived in Europe for so many years. Anytime a European walks into my life, I'm like glomming onto them. But just so you know, so my birthday was only supposed to go for a couple of hours. It was a cocktail party. I was supposed to go from 8 to 10, but we were encroaching on the midnight hour at that point. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know it was Carl's birthday. And someone said, it's Carl's birthday in 3 minutes. I was like, what, 3 minutes? So I was asking you, remember, I said, what is your favorite drink? And you said a mojito.
Yes. And there was the first time, what was it? Was it a Grand
Royale?
Royale, yes. That was a new one for me, too.
It's a mojito topped off with champagne. So here we were running around the garden. It was midnight. We were pulling mint out of the garden. We were muddling limes just to get this mojito made for Carl so that, by the way, no, he didn't know anybody else in the room except the people he came with.
Exactly.
Very interesting people are going to be on the podcast in the fall. And that's how I met you. We were toasting you at midnight on November 13th.
Yes. I mean, that was a very memorable birthday. And thank you so much.
It was great. I love it.
Couldn't have been better.
We have to do it again this year. So I am so fascinated by what you do, and that's why I wanted you to come in. So Carl's a denim designer, but not just any old denim designer. I mean, you have a really interesting story about how you got into designing denim, and talk to us about, I know I spent some time with you about understanding what the brand was, but I'm so fascinated by your fascination with American manufacturing.
Yes. I mean, so I think would probably be easiest to start. Obviously, I am originally from Dresden, Germany, so not from the US, and
nowhere near the Lone Star State, guys. Yeah. Nowhere near.
Yeah, and I mean, actually, I just start from the beginning.
Oh wait, not just the beginning, but the beginning.
Yeah, no, how I got here, No, but so it was kind of a tradition in my family to leave home for at least a year for an exchange or another school year. And
I love that.
My brothers, they went to the US because my dad always liked the US. And then my third oldest brother, I have 4 siblings.
Okay, are they all brothers?
3 brothers and 1 sister.
Okay, she the baby or you're the baby?
I am.
Oh, baby. Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, he went to a specific kind of military boarding school here in the US.
Okay. Oh my Lord.
Yeah,
You're from Germany. Your parents are German, and they sent their son to the U.S. to a military boarding school.
Exactly. Okay. It sounds crazy, right?
Yeah, you know what? It sounds like it's usually the other way around.
They sent him to Germany for?
Or no, I guess you would find a military school in Europe instead of the U.S. Was that it was in New England, right? Was it in New England?
No, it was actually in New Mexico.
Get out of town. Is your brother a bad boy? Is he doing
No,
something?
I think he just kind of liked the whole military shtick and everything. And, he stayed there for a year, and he just really loved it so much that he actually did his high school there 3 years. And, he was basically out of the home for since he was 15.
What?
And then it was my turn, and I went to the same school.
Okay, so you also went to the military school in New Mexico.
I also went to the military.
So Dresden is not at all New Mexico-y.
Yes, it is not at all. I mean, it's in Roswell, New Mexico, so it's
UFOs.
I know it's not like the most exciting city, but it's.
But in some ways, it's very exciting with Roswell and all the military stuff. Okay, I didn't know any of this, Carl.
Yeah, I mean that's why I was like,
yeah, you know, that's from the beginning. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you went to New Mexico too, and how old were you?
I am 23 right now.
No, when you went there the first time.
15.
You were 15 as like your brother.
Yeah.
And did you like it like he did? Did you stay?
Yes. Okay. I mean, that's the next thing. I mean, like you could say I was probably more of the bad boy, maybe not necessarily. It wasn't too bad, but in comparison to, the youngest siblings always.
You guys are just trouble.
Yeah. They get used to doing.
And plus, by the time you get to that number, most parents are like, I can't deal anymore. Like, just order me a pizza and make me a drink. Like,
I don't know if it maybe, you gotta ask my parents about that. But I really liked it. I just felt so much of, first of all, the discipline obviously there. In Germany, I never felt like I had that much discipline.
Really?
And it's contradictory, right? Yeah. The Germans and their.
But I love that because that's part of this podcast is like getting to the bottom of stereotypes and contradictions and. Yeah. But you're right. Like you would think, well, that makes no sense. We know the Germans are very efficient and they run clean factories and you can have spaghetti on the floor but more disciplined here. That's a good story.
Yeah. And it's, as I said, in Germany, I would say fairly lazy, maybe if that's the right word. Yeah. And, I could have done a lot better in school if I would have just studied, especially like most of these subjects, like what I saw after studying in the US is like if you just practice, a lot of things is just regular practice, and you had homework every day in the military school, and just it's very strict
it's a routine.
Day.
Yeah
and it helped me a lot. And I when the decision was like, do I want to stay here like my brother did, I was like, if I go back to Germany now, I think I might lose this productivity. And that's why I decided to stay for 3 years and did my high school
too.
there.
You stayed, and so you did your high school in New Mexico too.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like your brother.
Exactly.
Okay, so here you are. Then you're graduating from high school, and your family's still back in Germany.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
And have they come over here since then, or are they
My parents did come over since I would say 2018, 2017.
Oh, okay. So
they have been regular around here, and now in 2019
they moved here full time.
Yeah.
Because all their kids are here.
Not all of them, but me and. Maybe some are going to come in the future.
Okay, I love that. I love that. And so your parents decided to move here because you were here, or because
no?
Your
I mean,
it's
my father was always very real estate interested, and he did some of it in Germany. Especially after the Berlin Wall fell, there was
I'd love to get him on a podcast.
Yeah, I mean that would be another big story.
Maybe we'll put a pin in that because that could be really interesting.
Yeah, but he did some. It's like East when obviously the East opened up, and there was a crazy amount of opportunity.
Of course,
he went into that, and then he also did work as a lawyer in Germany.
Okay.
And now he always
he does sound like an American just doing a bunch of different things.
And he got interested in the US. Like he always dreamed about going there.
Oh gosh.
And we actually, the first time we got to the US was like as I said, I have 5 siblings.
Yeah.
And in 2006 when we were all very little, we went on a big vacation. But you can imagine with 5 little kids. It's I couldn't even imagine how that would be as a parent, but that's I still have so many vivid memories of that. And
where did you go? Do you remember where you went?
New York, Boston, everything.
American tour.
Exactly.
A Forkle America family tour.
Exactly. It was, one of the most amazing experiences, and I'm very grateful for that still to this day.
I love that. I really like your parents. They sound really cool.
Yeah, happy to introduce you.
Yeah, we're gonna put a pin in your dad for the fall. Now, so then you went to Texas Tech, is that right?
Exactly.
And so you were majoring and focused on retail. Is that point?
Yeah, I was actually I knew that I was interested in fashion, but I thought I wasn't sure, I had never had really created fashion before.
Yeah.
I
what
thought
was your interest from the military to college and high school to college? Because you've made a very big mark in, first of all, being a designer, and second of all, really adopting these American manufacturing techniques. And we have to talk about that because it's just fascinating what you've decided to do. Yeah. And it's interesting to hear that there was none of that in your, I mean, where did this come from?
So, I mean, I was like, so as I said, like I got to the university and I started more with the retail side of things. Okay. But then I actually saw while I had my orientation, like they had an apparel design, like essentially like the fashion design major. And I was like, hey, this sounds really interesting. Or like, let's try the sewing class. Yeah. And I mean, every single semester from then on, the apparel, like the actual designing classes and sewing classes were the ones where I spent the most time in and I had the most passion for. And it's just like, these are always the highlights of every semester. And
that's so interesting.
And, all the other classes about retail were like,
not so much.
I could probably learn most of this if I go work in like a shop for a year.
Which sounds terrible to me. Yeah. How did you do any sewing or apparel things with your mother in any?
No, actually, as I said, it all started at Texas Tech. And,
so it wasn't until college.
Yeah, sadly. I mean, I wish I would have done more before.
You're 23. You have like literally, you're about ready to sail in a boat right now. So that's awesome.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And the other thing, so everybody knows. So Carl is very fascinated in the American quality manufacturing process, but then you went back to Germany and did an internship there in a factory. Is that right?
It's in my hometown there is like bespoke jeans maker like myself. Okay. That's what I would call it. The job description currently, and and he started it also at a very young age. I believe even younger than me, when it was like 20 or 19 in Germany, and he just. That was like the first introduction into the world of denim craftsmanship and manufacturing. And, I just saw that. And at the beginning, I'll be honest, I was not as focused on it as I should have been. If I would have gone there now, I would have picked up
because
much more.
You don't know what you don't know, right?
Exactly. Like it was kind of like, oh, wow. You go there and it's so many new things, and it's like, it was crazy. And then I stopped there. Like it was like 2-3 months that we did it, and it got me on the path now. But it took like a year till I was like, maybe that's something interesting. And I think the really pivotal moment for me was when I wanted to get my first sewing machine to actually start making something during the pandemic and Corona.
Yeah.
And I went to this industrial sewing machine dealership here in Dallas, Sunny Sewing, there I got. They told I wanted vintage sewing machines.
Yeah, so let's put a pin in that. Go back to that. So let's explain to people a little bit. You're talking about industrial sewing on very big machines, right? And that's how they're sewing bulk items of things, right? But your focus, you wanted a vintage sewing machine. And for everybody out there, vintage sewing machine is not something you plug in the wall, right? Or maybe you can plug it in the wall.
It is but still electricity.
It's still electricity. So you're not using a pedal. Sorry, everybody.
No.
I kind of imagine you want a pedal.
Nah,
okay, so you do plug it in the wall, but it's not the new machines that do everything with the remote control and like 90 zigzags, right? It's a different, it's a specific kind of stitching.
Yes. So, okay. The how clothing is manufactured is like every single machine has one specific thing that they do perfectly well.
Really?
Like you got as example, you got a straight stitch machine, and you can run this machine at insane speeds, like way too fast when actually you need to. But I'm just saying, if you have a home sewing machines, they have more options, but you can't.
It's not made to specialize.
It's not made to specialize.
I have one in there that does like 90 things.
Exactly. Yeah. And it also can't handle it's not as specific, so it might not handle as thick of a material, especially for denim. You need very heavy duty machines because sometimes you have up to 8 or more layers that you actually have to go through.
Oh, it's true.
And a home sewing machine just can't do that.
But why did you want a vintage machine? Why did you not want like a standard? What would have been the alternative, actually?
The alternative would have been like newer models of the older machines. It's actually like most of these sewing machines are based on the same technology from like 100 years ago. Like,
so interesting.
It's like, it's obviously refined, but it's still like the same mechanism. And I just really, it just didn't fit. You're trying to make jeans, and you got this new perfectly white sewing machine there.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it went with like the industrial feeling that
exactly.
You got.
Yeah, it's too clean in a way.
See. I like that.
You need a little bit of grit, like a little bit of grittiness.
And
too.
so, is it hard to find these vintage machines?
It depends on what machines. Some machines that are very rare are like they are hard to find, and they can also cost a lot of money.
And is that a thing? Like people look for vintage machines?
Okay. That's obviously the next part. Which is like I got some machines that are fairly normal to get, like they're not going to cost as much.
Yeah.
But then there are also some machines that are highly sought after that are very expensive.
But is it because they make a stitch a certain way, or because you like the way it feels and your gritty, cool feeling, or is it that it does something that makes your bespoke jeans? I've seen your jeans, by the way. Sorry, everybody. They're fucking stunning. So we're going to put a lot of links up here in the notes. You guys can go check out Carl's jeans. And they're all custom fitted. So you just can't walk into a store and buy these things. You got to like be custom fitted. And we're going to talk about how he sort of blended denim design with very bespoke tailoring. I'm just going to say it. Is that about right?
I mean, tailoring is a,
already
everything.
Bespoke.
I mean, tailoring bespoke but it's like so the process that I that I do is I take the measurements of the person, like some measurements of them, and then I also take some measurements of their favorite pair or something that already fits them fairly well. And then I mix these two to make them a bespoke pattern and make a sample pair out of like not as expensive fabric, you know. And from there, I make additional tweaks and then start making the actual pair. And then, there is another fitting at a stage where I could still make a lot of changes. And, when everything is right there, then you actually get. And
how long does it take from start to finish normally to make a pair of bespoke Carl Forkel jeans?
I would say, currently it's like a month.
A month, okay. Yeah. And I interrupted you and went off on my own tirade here. We came back to these vintage machines that you want. So what is it that they do that you want in your jeans?
Well, some of them have, some of the older ones that are basically, not used anymore in general, they do stitches that are just not really used in denim manufacturing. As example, I have a machine that I really like. It's called a hem stitch machine, which is it's a Singer.
Okay. No, it's good.
From
I love
over,
it.
It's probably around 100 years.
100 years
like
old.
That.
Okay.
And it essentially makes like a hole in the fabric, and it finishes it off from the inside. It's kind of like a weird mechanism that goes into the hole, like out the hole, and then into the hole again, and then goes further. And this was usually used to make embroidery on handkerchiefs back in the day.
Because it has to all be on the top, and nobody wants, so the finish would be underneath, right?
It's just like a hole, and it essentially looks like a line of holes in a way. And the way that I use it now is actually I like to use it to attach linings into the jeans. very hard to describe here, obviously, without visuals.
Yeah, but that's a challenge for you, right?
Yeah,
this is good.
It is.
So we're trying to paint a picture.
Yeah,
trying to paint a picture.
And I mean that is one of my favorites, and I think also one that I don't think anybody else kind of uses it in that way.
What does it make it? How does that change the way the jean looks with this hem stitch machine?
Well, it makes like additional detail on the inside, especially like that's the next thing. We got so much to talk about, but
I know.
It's for me the goal when I make jeans is really to try to make it look as clean as possible on the inside, so there shouldn't be any like what they call overlocking, which is what you normally see in basically every garment or that you can find in like the mall or wherever, even on luxury goods. And I obviously have a higher price point, and I really want to have a product that feels that way. So like every single seam and everything is finished off without overlocking.
And I think, is that something like when you also look at the jean on the inside, doesn't look sloppy or messy? It has its own design on the inside.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I think it gives you a different feeling when the inside is just as beautiful as the outside.
I love that. It's just as beautiful. Well, I mean, if I buy a really high quality product, one that's made, handmade by some dresses that I have, I don't know what machines they use, but now I might be asking them. Yeah. But this one particular designer in Canada, and you look on the inside of it and it's just beautiful.
Yeah,
like it's just, you could turn it inside out and be like, it's just a work of art. Like her stitching is magnificent. And so she only makes things after you send her your measurements and puts them in that way.
Yeah.
And so I guess you must have known that you like the vintage machines, but did you have to work on a variety of them before you got a feel for the type of machine that you felt fit your
No, I mean,
style?
there is a range of, kind of like the classic denim machines.
Yeah.
There is it's called the Reese 101. It's a buttonhole machine that is also like basically the technology hasn't changed in 100 years. Something close to that.
That's okay. We can go with the century where everything is fine.
And then the next thing is like a specific machine that makes the flat felt seam, which is a seam that you see on like basically all jeans, which is very heavy duty. And like these basic machines, I knew that I had to get them, but now it's like always looking for like, is there like some specific machine that wasn't maybe traditionally used in a like pair of jeans,
like the hem stitch
exactly
machine. Oh, okay.
And how can I work this new detail into the garment and make it even better for the customer?
That's really interesting. So the fact the hem stitch machines used for handkerchiefs, and maybe people don't use as many handkerchiefs as they used to. So what do they just like dump those machines or just give them to old sewers? Or how do you find these vintage machines?
Well, sometimes
there's like a black market network. Like, hey, I need a vintage machine.
I wish. I mean, sometimes that would make things probably a lot easier.
Probably.
But it's as I say, it's sometimes it depends on the machine. Some of them are very rare and therefore extremely expensive, even though they are obviously very old. But some of them are, it's like a gem. But only for you, because you kind of like
want this hem stitch machine.
Like it's for somebody else, it might not be as useful, but for me, I love to use it in my clothing.
And so how long have you been using the hem stitch? Is this just before you started putting these jeans together? Is this something new or?
It's I think I got that one actually like a year ago, and I think it took me some time to actually think about a way, how can I use this in a good way? You don't just want to use it to have it be there, but actually, have somewhat of a interesting slight purpose. So
I love that.
And that's like one of the machines. There is other machines that make like decorative stitching, like for example, the shell stitch, which is like more. You can see that easier, like if you will look on my Instagram or something like that.
Yeah.
And
we're going to put all of this in the notes so people go check everything out, everybody. Okay.
And then there's also the classic hemming machine, which is probably the most expensive one out there, which is like just a small machine that was originally used to hem jeans back in the day. That's why it's like especially for people that are really into denim.
Yeah.
They are keen on like this, like, oh, is this jeans hemmed with this specific machine?
Hemming machine. Hemming machine.
Yeah.
And these wouldn't be like big names, obviously. These would be other people that are creating jeans on a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1 basis, right?
Some of them, I mean, a lot, like, yes, basically, but there is some bigger brands, that
are using vintage machines,
that are also using, I mean, I don't know
how would they? They're making so many jeans. How do they know? Or they're just sewing them with these machines to create that style? You don't have to know the answer.
I'm not sure.
Who cares about those other guys?
No, it's. I mean, there's a lot of great makers out there too. So
So can we switch gears a little bit and talk about your brand? It's called CFF, right?
CFF jeans.
CFF jeans. And what would you say is like the big takeaway right away if you had like 30 seconds, and you do, to talk about what is your selling point for these jeans? Like, how are you selling these jeans?
Well, I think it's just, it's first of all, as I said before, you kind of in today's market, or with clothing just being so like quickly tossed out. Like I just remember, I always like to use this example with I went to the mall here like a year ago, and it was just so many articles of clothing, and it's just like nobody cares about them, and like nobody really sees how they're made. It just feels like they're literally falling from the air.
Yeah.
And
we're so wasteful over here. I mean, we don't even think about it. We could go anything from mobile from phone devices. Like every year, everybody wants a new iPhone and throws away like thousands and thousands of dollars of minerals, which, by the way, we're running out of.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
And I mean, I just felt like giving the people a chance to see, what's behind actually these clothes. Like, even, I'm not saying, it's me making these clothes has actually given me a lot of more respect for, factories anywhere in the world, because I see how much know-how they have in making these clothes. But it's still like just giving the public and the customer a look behind the scene of what actually is behind this thing that they're wearing every day. Right.
Yeah.
And then obviously, it's bespoke, so it's like made exactly for the person, and it's we work till the fit is perfect, and this might take some time, like I said, a month, but it could take even longer.
Now, one of the things, and since we don't have video here, we're going to put all this in the notes, but I'm going to describe a pair of these jeans to you. And Carl's sitting here in a pair of his own jeans, and I can't make him stand up and take off his jeans so you can see the inside of his jeans. But the stitching, they're slightly darker wash than other colors I've seen in jeans, more blue, but closer to the black side. Can you stand up, Carl? Carl's going to stand up for us. I mean, okay, I would call those almost like black, gray.
Yeah. So, I mean, these are more like...
These are very good-looking jeans, everybody. And the stitching on this is beautiful. Like, I mean, one of the first things I noticed when I saw your jeans the first time at Dallas Denim Repair, which is also Faces Optica, which, by the way, are the two very short people who brought him to my birthday party. They know they're short. We're not saying anything they don't know. I can say it, you can say it. But amazing people, very tall in personality.
Yes, I mean...
amazing, lovely, kind people who create beautiful things. And these jeans were in there, and I was like, wait, whose jeans are these? And Javier also has some things that he creates as well in there. But they just look like they were dreamed up. Like if you closed your eyes and you blinked and you thought, here's a perfect pair of jeans. And they're just for men, so I just want to point that out. Right now, they're just for men. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right now. I mean, like I am. I'm going to work with women in the future too.
Okay, we go second.
It's all I'm currently only one person, so
nobody's holding anything. I think it's smart to focus on one market. I think that's really, really smart. And I think the kind of men, in my opinion, that are going to be buying tailored bespoke jeans are going to be maybe men that have a little more money, maybe they're financial advisors, maybe they have what they want, maybe they have the car they drive, maybe they like these certain sunglasses, like they want something created for them. Because as we get older, we become that way. I mean, I know I do. I didn't ever used to buy things that were hand made.
Yeah.
My grandmother made a lot of my clothes because she was a seamstress.
Wow, really?
Yes, and I have a sewing machine in there, and I haven't. It's a new sewing machine, but I let my sewing completely lapse, to be honest with you. And when I lived in France is when I started having things made again. Right, the idea over there of creating things made for you, and those pieces hang very happily in my closet, and I take better care of them.
Yes, and I mean that's the next thing is like once you have that experience of something fitting, perfectly how you want it, and that's like most of the time you might find something good, but it's like 90% good. It's not 100%,
70% good.
Yeah, okay, 90 is as I say, like 90 is probably pretty high, but it's like once you find that, or like once you have an experience of like something that fits perfect, you're like, I don't really want to go back to off the rack things anymore.
And I hear a lot of people talk about this, and I've said this before. My sister and I both agree on this, being that my grandmother was a seamstress, is that I hear people go, oh, that dress is so expensive. It was $200, $300. I said, if one person made that for you, like if it took her 20 hours, divide that by an hour, like that's nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you're paying an artist and a craftsman to make you something. So to me, that's a better use of my dollars.
Yeah.
Is to know that I'm spending them something that's crafting something just for me. And I mean, we've gotten so used to cheap things out there, like $14.99 for a dress. That shouldn't even be happening. Do you know what I mean? Like, who's making that? What child is making that?
Yeah,
and what are the labor hours on that? Like, I love the idea of what you're doing. What's been the biggest struggle for you so far? Like, what's your biggest barrier or the things you didn't?
Well, I mean, for me, I think the biggest struggle is probably like being satisfied with the product myself. It's like people because as like a perfectionist, you're always thinking like, oh, everything can be better. It's like most of these things nobody would ever see, but it's like since you know the thing like the inside and out, and you've spent hours making it, you're like, like it could have been like 1% better, and it's like that's something.
Okay, so you're your biggest problem then.
I mean, yes, I think
all our
that's
biggest
probably
problems.
that's the thing. But on the other hand, it's like probably I think social media has been interesting for me because I've never really been too out there, showing too much. I'm not an influencer type, I would say, and just putting my work out there and really just thinking, how do I want to present it?
But that's part of that perfection thing.
Exactly,
too, crafting that the way you want it.
Yeah, and I mean now I'm becoming very happy with how I am able to present it, and I mean I think it's not I don't know anybody that makes it look that way.
Yeah, you have to be able to sell it, so you have to be comfortable with it. Like you can't sell it unless you feel comfortable in your own jeans.
Yeah. And it's you're the only person that is responsible in the end 100%. And for everything. And so also like how you present it in the internet and to the world.
100%. And do you think if you didn't have the experience of going to New Mexico to do that school and then going to high school here, do you think you would be where you are now? Or maybe that's not a great question to ask, but I'm asking it anyway.
There you go. I don't think no, I honestly, I don't think I would be where I'm at right now, because as I said, it's like really that has showed me how productive I can be if I just sit my butt down and just in general, it's cliche and everything, but I think especially as an immigrant, you can really see how success is possible here in the US and the American dream.
Yeah, no, you know what? I love that.
And I mean, I'm blessed to have support and everything, and it's been going good, but it's just like I don't think if I would have went back to Germany, I think it would have been different.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting that you thrived so well. Like there was something that made you come alive when you came over there to, New Mexico, Roswell, nowhere near Dresden, right?
Yeah.
It's everything. But maybe that part like woke something up in you or brought something out in you. Maybe that's a better way.
And, I mean, it's definitely like the people here, it's just like I tell people about what I'm doing. As I said, I'm 23 and starting this business, and it's only support that I'm hearing. It's always,
that's amazing,
and it's just it's in Germany. I think it's people are a little bit safer, so they are probably a little bit more hesitant immediately when you tell them like about an idea. They're like, what could go wrong?
We had a whole podcast about that 4 episodes ago. About an American living over there, about his observations of how when he came over from Apple, and he left Apple to be a part of this society in Amsterdam that was building apps back in the day. And he said he would bring these ideas to the table and they were like, and I even encountered that living over there. Like you have this enthusiasm and they're like, that's too much. Like take it down a notch.
Yeah. I mean, it's not to bash anybody, obviously, but it's just,
different cultures.
That's the next thing, what would be probably a good thing to talk about is just kind of like living here and living in Germany is like, once you have lived at 2 different places, you kind of don't really feel about like, ooh, what is the better place, or like,
it's so true,
my country is better. You're like, there is advantages and disadvantages at every place.
I think that's really true. I think we did talk a little bit about that at the birthday party, but I love that you put that into perspective because it sort of mellows you a little bit because you always hear like this. You're right. This is best. A lot of stereotypes. Obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
And then all of a sudden you become a little more neutral. It's like, oh, people say where's your favorite place to live? I'm like, I loved all of them. Like they're all different. I mean, Dallas, to me, I never imagined I'd ever live in Dallas. I never imagined I'd ever live in Texas. And I think sometimes I do a little like, it's Texas. But, Texas has been good to me. I mean, this community, you've met all these people. It's been good to me. People are very supportive here.
Yeah. And it's like, there's a reason a lot of people are coming here right now.
Yeah, a lot of people are coming here. And I think there's a lot of international people that live here too. And your point of like, it's not this, it's not that. If we could have the whole world sort of be a little more in that bucket.
Of course.
Like, I think everybody should be forced to live in a different culture.
At least for like some time.
Maybe 6 months.
it's I'm always, every time I obviously miss things about Germany. And it's always great to be there. But then at some point you're like, okay, I think I have enough for a moment. Yeah. And I just think for me, the realization is, right now, I think being here in the US is better for me and, for what I'm trying to do. I think it's easier to do here, like making bespoke jeans and than it is in Germany. Yeah. And so that's why ended up in Dallas, Texas. Yeah.
I love that. It's such a beautiful story. So I'm gonna ask you to say out loud, like you have a website, right?
Or do you coming soon.
So we don't care about that. You have an Instagram then.
I have an Instagram.
Okay.
Yes.
And are you have a TikTok or anything? Are we TikToking? No.
No,
I know. If you guys know Carl, I'm looking at Carl, I can't see him TikToking. And also, I really like that you're not TikToking. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put your Instagram up. You're also on LinkedIn, so people can connect with you if they want to connect with you. Yes. And then where, for the biggest, most important thing, if someone does not live in Dallas, can they become your client? Can they have a bespoke jean made?
I am
Can you do a virtual fitting?
I can do a virtual fitting. I did it before. Especially with people in Germany. Yeah. It's just, but obviously I cannot do all the fittings as easily. Yes. And
unless they have a jet and they're going to jet you in and fly you there. Okay.
So I mean,
so anybody who has a jet, please feel free to fly Carl in.
But I mean, as it is with other bespoke makers, maybe in the future I'll do like trunk shows and stuff in cities, or do other solutions. And I mean, as I said, with a website, it might be more of a streamlined process. But as I say, I really like to work with a client hands-on, and do the fittings, and as I said, give them the experience and show them what's behind it. And it's very hard to obviously do that if you
You don't have to keep going. Yeah. I get it. And I think also it's a beautiful thing to make something in the moment, to make something, this is something I'm making for you and you're here. Like, I find that, do we always have to be on a video call? Like, I don't think we always need to be on a video call. So I think there's something beautiful about you sort of bringing back this American manufacturing, these vintage machines, and having, like you said, showing them what's behind this pair of jeans that you're making for them. This means that you guys can come to Dallas and see me, or you can just follow him and give him support on his social channels and share it with all your friends. So we're going to put all of that in the notes. And also just want to say congratulations on this new business, because I'm really impressed, and I'm never impressed that easily.
Hope so.
Yeah. So is there anything you want to leave everybody with?
Well, no. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for having me on. I had a great time. I'm so glad
you came. Yeah. And listen, this is the last episode of season 2. Carl is rounding this out. And so I'm so grateful for that. And then we're going to take a little break in the summertime, but we're doing best of episodes. So maybe you'll come back for some commentary, because I'm sure this is going to be a very popular episode. So maybe do some best of episodes. And then we're going to start again in the fall, where you might need to get your dad on the phone.
Yes, sure. Okay.
Well, that is the last episode of season 2 of Tiny Little Victories with Carl Forkel. I'm going to put all of the ways that you can connect with Carl in the notes. You can go check out CFF Jeans. You can go to Instagram and see all of his gorgeous jeans. They are really gorgeous jeans. Every time I see Carl and he's walking around, I'm riveted by his jeans because they're just so beautiful. The stitching, the lines, the color of the jeans. So I hope you get a chance to go check that out. And if you're in Dallas or you're in the surrounding areas, even if you're not, reach out to Carl. Maybe he'll go ahead and take you on as a client, even if you're not here. He likes the personal touch, which I think is really beautiful about creating something custom to be able to do these very tailored measurements. But you never know, right? So give him a shout. And also, the last thing I have to ask is, we would love it if you would rate us and you would comment on the episode, because it really helps the guests that have come on the show, and it makes me happy, it makes me smile. And who doesn't want to smile? Okay, so we will see you this summer. We're going to be doing a best of series, so be on the lookout for some of the guests from the top 10 episodes of Tiny Little Victories. And we're going to re-record some new interviews with them. So we're going to have a little fun. So that way you can have something to do while you're sitting by the pool, or taking your long road trips for summer, or I don't know, just like mowing your lawn. Okay? Thank you for listening to season 2 of Tiny Little Victories, and we'll see you in the fall.